Calling the meeting to order for the Kingston Springs Regional Planning Commission, October 11th. Roll call. Keith Allgood?
Present.
Donna Boggs? Absent. Tony Campbell?
Present.
Jerry Corlew?
Here.
Tom Cullen?
Here.
Tony Gross? Absent. Brian McCain?
Here.
Mike Patno? Present. Chuck Slater?
Here.
Okay, non-voting staff, Sharon Armstrong?
Here.
John Lawless?
Here.
Jennifer No?
Here.
Okay. And we have a quorum. So you have the September 13th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting minutes there.
I move to approve as circulated.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that the minutes from September 13 are approved. So now we have the October 11 Planning Commission meeting agenda. However, this is in the packet, right? These resolutions?
Yes.
So we have a, yeah, so this will be an amendment to items in your agenda. You'll see items 6 under old business, 6C and 6D. And what these are doing is changing it from, in 6C, approving revised language, to changing it to approving a resolution 18-003, which is revised language for the subdivision. So what we're amending is we're changing the wording. We're inserting resolutions, and as with 6D. So
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
all right,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So here we go. Thanks, Tony. All right.
It's a motion.
We have to have a motion to approve the agenda.
You did
We
that.
had it, okay.
You did. And as amended, in fact.
No?
And it was approved.
As amended.
As
As
amended.
amended. In fact.
Jennifer sits over there and frowns.
And so now we're on,
July.
now we're on 6A, old business.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
before
sir.
we do that, I'd
Yes.
like to ask the city manager to make sure that the spelling in all of the nameplates up here are correct.
Is there one that's misspelled? Is there an extra L in all good that's not there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not an extra one. There's one that needs to be there.
Okay.
Wow.
Duly noted.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Are there any other nameplates that need updating?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay.
I haven't looked at mine, but.
I haven't looked at mine either. Okay, so now we're back to old business A. And we're carrying these on here. Is there any discussion that we need to have on A? Other than to just
No,
say
this-
what it is?
It's a real small change. In front of you, you've got a couple of documents. One is a larger site plan,
Okay,
which is the existing approved site plan for the commercial area on Kingston Springs Road. This is an amended site plan. They want to change the sign out from a monument to a low pole sign in order to advertise each of the businesses that are in that area. The regulations require anytime there's a change to the site plan, it has to come back to this planning commission to be blessed. Much as it did when Thornton's or the BP wanted to change the layout of the lot slightly, it all has to come back to you. So it's an administrative function of the planning commission to bless the change in the site plan from a monument sign, which is brick, to a 26-foot mast pole sign lighted that allows them to advertise each of the businesses located in that block.
Does this meet our sign ordinance?
It does.
It should.
I'm absolutely positive. There are 3 similar signs that were placed post this site plan on the adjacent parcels This will be very much like those. The existing sign is unlit, and it's impossible to tell where those three businesses are in between the other
Well, that's
signs.
been a bone of contention up there, the signs. I want to make sure that everything is.
It meets the sign ordinances. There are no deviations.
I move that we approve the
Second.
site plan revision.
All in favor?
Aye.
All, any opposed? And I forgot to ask if there was any questions or
Any
comments.
discussion?
Any discussion, so, but it's
I'm not gonna
approved.
make any more motions.
All right, so, item B, re-subdivision A89 and 707 Pinnacle Hill Road, map 91, Kingston Springs growth area. It says here, both lots rezoned from E1 to R1 at September 2018 Cheatham County Commission meeting per this commission's request.
Several meetings back, Mr. McCain, who will at some point have to recuse himself, brought to us a plat. There are two lots that are located on Pinnacle Hill Road. The barn or the garage is across the line on the second lot. You are the review body within your growth area in the county. So this does not lie within the city limits, it lies within the county. It was brought to you, we discovered that the zoning that these two parcels lie on was E1. They did not meet the parcel size. So we had a discussion with you. Your recommendation was to seek rezoning from the county, to ask the county, based on your recommendation, to rezone and to examine that E1 area. The county did uptake it finally after about 6 months, but they chose to rezone just these two parcels rather than addressing the broader area, because many of the lots in that area don't meet the E1 zoning requirement of 3 acres or more. But in regard to this particular plat, it has now been rezoned to R1 in the county, so the plat now meets the requirements for approval in order for a plat revision to correct the location of one structure on the other person's lot.
Were they made aware of the whole situation up there?
They were. I had, John and I, between the two of us, had multiple discussions with multiple people. That is not an uncommon occurrence in the county. It's the third one I've had this year.
Well, there's a couple of us here that's been through it a whole lot. I'm just curious.
It was a function of the results of the growth plan and kind of a mass rezoning. We've had 12 areas within the county jurisdiction that suffered the same issue. But they are reluctant, given their growth pressures right now, to rezone anything.
Mr. Chairman?
This function, you're the approval body for the plat to be approved. Under the county's regulations, not yours.
Okay, I have a question over here.
I have to formally recuse myself from this vote.
Okay. And so you are. Mr. Cruz.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion on item 6B?
Motion moved.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay. Is there any question or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And Mr. McCain's no longer recused at this point, correct? Okay, welcome back.
Thanks, sir.
As a note, Mr. Chairman, you will sign the plat without the benefit of other signatures on the plat, because we're just a review body and approval body for the plat. So you'll sign it, and then Mr. McCain can obtain the other signatures that he needs from the county
Okay,
side of things.
all right, thank you. All right, so now we're to item C, which is a motion to approve Resolution 18-003 PC, revised language for subdivision regulations, Chapter 4, Section 4-105.2, Subpart 4-105.201, requirements for a traffic impact study. You have
So
that.
moved.
All right, we got a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion for item 6C is approved. Item 6D is a motion to approve resolution 18-004 PC. Okay. Revision of zoning ordinance, chapter 3, chapter 3.120, plot plan requirements to add revised language for traffic impact study submission required by Kingston Springs subdivision regulations.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Is there any discussion? Question? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Item E, rezone request, West Kingston Springs Road. Do we have that map?
No.
96K. Oh, this is what we've been talking about. Okay. Parcel 56, Indian Point Partners.
I would like,
Go ahead.
I would like to ask the city manager and our attorney to get to the point where at the next planning commission meeting, we have some answers to both of these issues. You know, I understand some of the problems associated with it, but I look up there at the one piece of property that has all the trucks parked on it, all the rocks stored there. I'm told by other people more knowledgeable than me that are no longer part of the city that they probably are in violation of our ordinances. And if that's so, let's do something about it. And the other one is I want something resolved on the other piece of property up there, the strip mine, whatever it is.
We have, at the direction of the Planning Commission, sent the appropriate notifications and letters. The progress on item E, we have received a clearance letter from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation on the violation that was listed several years ago. It was finally cleared in 2013. They just simply hadn't uploaded it to the data viewer. So they uploaded that. We were able to retrieve that information. At this point, in conversations with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, they informed me that as long as the rocks and the fill do not exceed a square footage area that equals an acre, they have absolutely no mechanism to control that. The only other...
But does it violate our zoning ordinances, not the state's ordinance? Do you think he can stockpile all the damn construction stuff he wants on that piece of property?
As long as he is not selling it to a customer on the lot. The customer's not driving a dump truck up and retrieving the material and leaving it outside. Everything else is considered under the zoning ordinance as storage of construction material, which he's allowed to do. And as long as he doesn't exceed the footprint of an acre, he's allowed to do it. So
What about the trucks?
that's kind of where we are. The development itself, there is no progress other than the clearance letter. There are still 2 outstanding items that have not been addressed in order for that development to move forward. In speaking with the property owner last month, I was told that he is busy with a project at the Golf Club of Tennessee, where some of the material is being used for the cabin project that was approved by the Planning Commission
If you believe that.
several months ago. So, Mr. Campbell, I'm not
What about the
disagreeing or
trucks?
disagreeing. I'm simply saying that's what was relayed to me.
What about the trucks?
The trucks themselves violate, it's a commercial lot. There is no, I can't find anything in the ordinance that prohibits that traffic. Your sister city, town, has an ordinance that prohibits trucks of a certain weight for extended hauling purposes from traveling on their city streets. But it's not a city street, it's a state road. So we're really limited by what we can do, how we can approach it, and because the state regulates that, we don't.
I guess I would ask that under our ordinance for commercial property, if we have an ordinance that in that area allows for commercial truck parking.
That particular commercial zone allows 27 separate uses parking of those vehicles is one of them. There's just nothing in the ordinance currently that will allow us to address it.
How big is that lot?
The lot itself
There's two lots
is,
there.
well, there are 2 lots in the front and then the larger lot in the back, all of which are part of the Indian Point proposed development. The lots themselves are probably slightly under an acre each.
Makes no difference how high and how deep you can pile the rock.
Depends on the day of the week.
Well, he's been doing it for 20 years, hasn't he? Close to it.
No, not quite that long, maybe 15.
Probably.
It's probably up 10, 12 feet in that period of time.
One thing, it does bring to mind something that had not crossed my mind. I can check to see if he has a hauler's license, because they are required when they operate trucks with filled material to have a license.
Those his
specific
trucks?
license. I can check and see if he
Not
has one.
his truck, well, it depends upon what day you ask him whether they're his trucks or not.
Some of them, Donnie Bruce owns most of them.
Huh?
Donnie Bruce.
Well, it depends upon who you ask and when.
And it
You know, we're
depends-
sitting here, poor old Jennifer's sitting here between the cross rock and the hard place.
I can check and see if that license has been issued by the state. It is a commercial license that has to be acquired. But again, we're severely limited in what we can do because it's adjacent to a state road. So we can't control the traffic, we can't control the type of vehicle, we can't control any of that.
But we control the use of the land. We can control the use of the land.
The land right now is simply zoned commercial and has no specific use. No plan has been approved by this body that implements a particular use. So everything available under the commercial zone is open to it. We don't specify a length of time that construction materials can be on a lot. We don't specify a length of time under the zoning ordinance, what type of fill material, we don't specify any of that. So the mechanism by which you control that would require language and revision of the zoning ordinance to control that type of use. Because it's in essence no different than the BP remodeling and hauling rock in there to do what they gotta do. We don't regulate how long, we don't regulate how high, we don't regulate how frequently. We don't regulate any of that. Would you like to explore some language to regulate that?
Well, I think that we ought to be able to regulate how that piece of property is used. And that certainly isn't any stretch of the imagination. I put the lawyers aside.
If it were located-
Proper use for that piece of property.
If it were located in a residential neighborhood, if it were located non-adjacent to a state highway, if it were located anywhere but other than where it is, we would have some
It's
control.
adjacent to a piece of residential property. I get very frustrated with it. I know I get accused of being down on Carl, and I'm really not. I just think that we have rules and regulations that we ought to enforce, and we ought to be trying to protect the integrity of the community. And I don't think we're doing it. And I think that between that piece of property and the one on the other side, it's just a horrible example of what we could and should be doing. And I don't know what to do about it. It frustrates the hell out of me.
Let me say something. I know that Carl has bragged about how much money that he's got letting people dump rock there, how much he charges. So is that legal too, I mean, for him to let people dump rock and charge them? And just, and I know I couldn't swear to it, but I'm sure he sold some of it too. And to get it off of there, you've got to bring a truck in there and get it out. But
This town, unlike 3 of the remaining 4 jurisdictions in this county, does not have a dump and fill or a haul ordinance. I brought one to the Planning Commission in excess of 10 years ago. It was voted down.
I don't remember that.
I
And I've
do.
been on this planning commission longer than 10
You
years.
approved one, and as you sat as chairman in the county, it was approved. We had issues on the Luna property and down this road. That same ordinance was approved at the county level. It was approved in Ashland City. It was not approved in Pleasant View, and it was not approved here.
I
wrote
don't
the ordinance
remember it
abroad.
coming here,
It came.
because I've been on this planning commission.
Yes, sir. I'm keenly aware.
Forever,
It came.
Your memory's failing you.
apparently.
Well,
Would
the minutes
you-
exist someplace.
Pardon?
Said the minutes exist someplace.
They are.
Microphone
I can furnish
problem.
John with the month and the year that I brought it. I brought it to every single jurisdiction because we had so much dumping and filling in the county everywhere. We had a particular problem over off the Luna property. There was a problem on the edge of Pegram, and they were dumping in the creek. And then we had a problem going down Sam's Creek Road. All three of those areas. So it originated with the county asking what we could do about these trucks that were driving through these small rural roads and tearing them up and dumping rock and fill. And in some cases, they were dumping construction debris, old roofing asphalt, all kinds of blocks with formaldehyde in them. We had TDAC do a study. They pulled water from the creek. We had lead, mercury, and formaldehyde show up in the water. So we wrote the ordinance, distributed to everybody. It failed here, and it failed in Pleasant.
I want to see
So,
proof of that.
If we had that ordinance in place, if we had adopted it. would
If you
it-
had that
Would do it.
ordinance, there would probably be a challenge to retroactive enforcement
That's
because it's
exactly
in
right.
regulation.
So, so where we stand today is,
Stands that
there's nothing there.
Carl Francis can do whatever the hell he wants.
I understand the frustration, I do. The primary hamper to what we're able to do as
So
a
there's
jurisdiction is
miles.
that that's a state road.
Okay.
And we can't tell TDOT how to maintain what happens or regulate what happens to
That's right.
TDOT's road. We don't have a dog in
What's the
fight.
status of his negotiations with the homeowners association?
The last conversation I had with him, they had not scheduled a meeting to hear the request.
They don't trust it because they think he's gonna try to pull a sneaky to get through them. And that's exactly why.
We do need to watch what we say in open meetings.
Well, I don't care. I'm getting tired of this chick.
Okay.
We kowtow to him all the time.
Well, we need to watch what we say in open meetings.
Well, is it being viewable from the street and being an eyesore? Could it be a maintenance issue?
The only option that we have right now with this body, with the city, is to check and see if he has a hauler's license to haul that gravel. That's all I can do. It's
But
the only
does he need that license or the people bringing the stuff in? Those trucks that are parked there?
He does not. He needs a license to haul it, to load it in a truck and take it down the highway. You have to have a particular type of license to be a hauler.
But he's not the one that's hauling it in there,
Not in, out.
in or out.
There is no regulation for what's hauled in. None. Which is why we find ourselves in the position that we're in with the property we're going to discuss next.
Okay?
So we can maybe look at writing something that regulates changes in topography. That's the only way I know to approach it, is how do you determine how much is too much, how do you determine how much is enough? You do that by regulating the change in topography, the change in the contour of the ground, which creates runoff. So you have to look at stormwater. It's not a stormwater issue. No water's leaving the property.
It's
So
not?
we can't regulate, none. I've walked it, looked at it, checked it. I've gone over there in muddy boots in the rain. No water is leaving any of the land that's owned by that individual.
So where does it go?
Into the
It stays on this property, absorbs because the topography changed when it falls beyond those
It goes in
two
the
parcels.
pond down there.
So those are the options that, I wish I could give you a different answer, but I can't. There's not an answer. If we pass an ordinance today to prohibit the activity,
You can't do that.
it's retroactive.
That's right.
So,
So,
then, moving on to item F, is there anything further since the last meeting?
thank you, Mr. Chairman. We received a grading and excavation plan to supplement the geotechnical report on the McPherson parcel. The grading and excavation plan was sent to the geotechnical engineer for review to make sure that it met what he required in the report in order to make this lot developable. It does meet that. We received that information this week. I have reviewed the grading and excavation plan. You don't review those. Those are staff reviews because they're construction documents. But I have reviewed them to determine that they meet all the requirements of our ordinance for a grading and excavation plan. So this plan, once the permit is issued, is the pathway to remediate the issues on the ground in order to return the property to a developable status. So my staff recommendation to you, or my comment to you, is that one, he has satisfied the requirements of the geotechnical report. The grading and excavation plan meet the regulations to address the issues on the property. They obviously are bound by TDAC regulations for stormwater, soil erosion, all of that sort of thing. So they are ready to move forward to receive a permit in order to begin that process. But we wanted, because you asked and because we update you every month, they are ready to move forward. We received information from Mr. Goff, the geotechnical engineer, on Wednesday, and the plan meets his requirements for that report.
Do we have any ability to have an engineer review this for us?
We do. Because the site itself is more than an acre, they have to obtain a TDAC permit in order to do that work. They also have to establish soil and erosion controls on the property. The way that you ensure that that takes place is by site inspections, and working with Andrew, your new building inspector, and I and John monitor that site on a regular basis, much as we have where they're retrofitting the BP and the Southern Service. We monitor those sites on a regular basis. I check them every time I come into town. So we'll ensure that the soil and erosion fences stay up. We'll ensure that the permits are current, ready to go, that the SWIP plan is being followed, and the remediation plan is being followed.
And does receiving a TDEC permit include, does that process include an engineer review when they receive a TDEC permit?
The TDEC, they filed a SWIP already. The SWIP was approved by the state. And with the TDEC permit, Mr. Lyon can probably better tell us what the status of the, does he have a notice of coverage?
Yes, he does.
So he has received a TDEC permit to proceed. I will check the database and print off a copy of that report for the file, as I always do when they get a TDEC permit. Then the inspections, TDEC conducts them sporadically. They will check them. If you call and ask, they will come and check. But it is within the purview of this jurisdiction for the geotechnical engineer to inspect that site on a regular basis to ensure that the work that's being done stays in compliance with what he's requiring.
But the geotechnical engineer works for him.
He does.
Sorry.
Well, he is a hired consultant, I would agree that he is. But I know Mr. Goff personally. I have worked with him to resolve several dump sites in the county. I know enough to be dangerous myself. I've been through all the training with TDAC for soil and erosion up to level 2. I'm also certified in a number of other areas, including the compaction of soil. So I will monitor this site. So just as I serve as a consultant for you, I'm a hired gun, but you rely on my expertise. Mr. Goff has proven in the past for 4 projects with me to be completely reliable. He's really good at what he does.
Okay.
And
So,
of course, we have Mr. Lyon and Mr. McPherson, and we'll stay in constant contact.
Who's
Mr.
that?
Lyon is Mr. McPherson's engineer.
That's Mr. McPherson's engineer.
Are there any, we just wanted to update you and let you know there's not a motion or a vote or
okay.
anything that you're required to do, but it's been a somewhat long process. We finally got there.
So thank you for the update. So the staff review, there's no requirement for anything from us. Permits are going to be issued?
No, sir.
Okay.
But because we update you every month for this project, we just wanted to let you know that the documents had come in.
Okay.
It was not necessary for us to send a letter or begin enforcement action because they met the deadline that we established.
Okay.
Quick question. Off the subject a little bit, but not much. There's a property off of Old Charlotte where there's a lot of dumping, I think you were referring to earlier. Was that properly remediated?
In
Or
Old
they
Charlotte,
just-
no, sir, it was compacted, and there is a document on file in the county that it can never be built on, ever.
But everything is buried.
The,
All of the liquids and all of that nasty stuff is just under another 20 feet of dirt.
right, there was an environmental report produced by TDAC with a soil scientist at the time that the fill was done. They were required by TDAC to clean all of the things out that were drifting into the creek over there. That site was monitored up until March of 2009.
Was that before or after that road disappeared up there?
That was before the road disappeared.
Was there any relation between that and the disappearance of the road during those heavy rains?
Yes. But I did not have any input, monitoring activity, or anything else for that site after March of 2009.
How much did that cost the county? Or the state?
$1 or $2. That site was built to a depth of 72 feet. The depth of the fill actually exceeded the height of the trees. About 30% of it was construction debris.
What's the status on Thornton's?
Pardon?
What's the status on Thornton's?
We have no status updates or
Should
reports.
we be reaching near the end here, but they have to do
We
something?
are.
December 14th?
December the 14th.
December 14th.
December 14th, okay.
Yes, sir.
I knew we were getting close.
Yes, sir. The city manager did send them a letter. We've had several emails, phone calls, discussions, encouragements. As of this week, I have had absolutely no communication.
And you're comfortable with the status on the BP, that open hole at the edge of the road?
Yes, sir. They are in the process of securing state permits that they're required to have for
But
gas.
there's no liability there for somebody running their damn car off in that hole, which is within a foot or 2 foot of the shoulder.
It's gated.
All right?
It's gated.
Gated my
It's fenced and gated.
shit, you could run over it with a golf cart.
I'm sure that you can, but that's all that they're required to do. They've done what they're legally required to do.
But that's been that way for over 2 months now.
Yes, sir, it has.
3, probably.
It's been about 2 since it's been that way. Again, the only mechanism that we have to encourage movement is that 1-year deadline. That's all we have.
Well, I mean, they've got a lot of money invested in that site, there's no doubt about that.
Yes, sir.
And they've done overall a good job. But I think there's real liability problems with that hole at the edge of the highway. You can say there's a fence there, but it wouldn't stop a golf cart.
I would agree it's not an optimum site, but my last conversation with their project manager, the state, to put it politely, it takes them a little while to get through paperwork processes at the state level. They have to have permits for the underground tanks, they have to have permits for the storage of combustibles, they have to have all those permits, and the state is not as responsive as we are.
I agree with that. I won't argue with you. But what I'm saying is that hole right there is within the T-dot right-of-way, and as such is a significant hazard to the public. And it doesn't have anything to do with permits or anything beyond back of that. It's just a matter of, do we sit here and accept that liability? And it seems to me that if we don't force the developer to deal with it, then it's our problem.
They could put a steel plate over that very easily.
They can do a lot of things, more than just
Yeah.
leaving the hole open.
State right away.
Huh?
It's in the state right away. It's not city right.
I agree with you, then why aren't we calling the state to do something about it then?
I'll call T-Dot tomorrow.
I'll do that.
Very good, I think
We
that's,
can do.
Huh?
I said, we can call them, that's all we can do.
Well, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. We're doing something.
Okay, are there any?
John, in all likelihood, the best thing to do with that would be to send them a letter in writing that'll respond with a call. Man,
Any,
Mr. Lyon, the permit can be picked up. I will have it ready for tomorrow. Please be cognizant of the information that you've heard tonight.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Would you please share this information with Mr. McPherson? I got an email from him before
I definitely
the
will.
meeting
Hey.
started.
anything else for tonight's agenda? Thank you for all your knowledge and work. Appreciate
You're
it.
quite welcome.
All right.
I move we adjourn.
All right, got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're adjourned.